This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
Our conversation now turns to local government elections. The National Assembly is considering removing the constitutional provision that enabled the Supreme Court's ruling on financial autonomy for local governments. This is coming on the heels of the local government elections in Anambra State, which reportedly witnessed a low turnout of voters. Joining us on the conversation this morning is political affairs analyst Jide Ojo. Mr. Ojo, good morning and thank you for joining us on the conversation.
Good morning, Steve. My pleasure.
What can you tell us about local governments in terms of their importance to the democratic process?
Of course, local government is very key because it's the government at the community level, or what they call grassroots. And that's why, constitutionally speaking, there is a recognition of local government as a third tier of government. If you look at Section 7, and also the fifth schedule, it states clearly the functions of local government and how local government should be governed. Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, said local government must be democratically governed. And that's why what Supreme Court decision a few months ago was is in tandem with this provision, because what we have seen over time is that local governance system has been usurped by the state government, who just appoint caretaker committees, refuse to conduct local government elections, seize local government funds, and even the functions of local government have been usurped by local government. Take, for instance, in Abuja, the internally generated revenue meant for local government is being collected by the FCTA. That's the Federal Capital Territory Administration. If you read just last week, where some week was saying it will use 10% of the local government funds that is with the FCT to settle local government and to settle primary school teachers. It tells you the story. Why should the state or the FCT be the one to collect revenue for local government? So it tells you the aberration that have been following the exercise of that, the governance system at the local government. But the intention is genuine. All over the world, there are local governance systems. In U.S., it is called the counties. You have counties all over the U.S. Even in UK, you have also a local governance system. And it is meant to bring governance and development to the people in the communities who may not be able to access the state, given the fact that the distance of the state to them. So unfortunately, the administration of local governance system in Nigeria has been worked since the 1970s.
So with this in mind, I do know that you've also been talking fairly recently about local government elections and how they are conducted. We do know that the Anambra State Independent Electoral Commission has declared that APGA, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, won all 21 local government seats. And you've just talked about the usurping of local governments through the appointment of caretaker committees. Now, I put all this as a background to asking if you can speak to us about how importantly citizens should be taking local government elections, given that we now have a Supreme Court ruling in place that essentially guarantees financial autonomy for local governments. How much of how progressive is this, and how can the citizens take part in ensuring that they get the dividends of democracy?
Well, there are several things that you have lumped together in that statement. Well, let me unpack them. First is that as a result of the Supreme Court decision in July, all the state governments are now in a hurry to conduct shambolic local government elections. Shambolic in the sense that you find out that in all the states, whether it's governed by the party at the center or the opposition party to the center, every available seat, councillorship, chairmanship, is won by the party that is governing at the state level. Which then means invariably that the will of the people is not being respected. Why did I say so? It's not as if it is impossible for the ruling party in the state to win all the seats. But given that we have 19 political parties, and many of these parties have always come out to say there is no level playing field in the conduct of local government elections in their respective states. Because part of what gives recognition to a party is that party must win at least a ward election. That means you must have at least one councillor as under your party umbrella, or you win certain percentage of votes at executive elections. Unfortunately, if you look at the fact that in 2019, we had 91 political parties that were 74 of which were deregistered by INEC. It is because these 74 parties do not even win. They don't have even a councillorship seat to their names, and they don't win. They didn't win the required number of votes at other level of elections. So what I'm saying is that if there is a level playing field in the conduct of local government elections, I tell you, at least all the 19 political parties should be able to win at least a councillorship seat. Because you cannot tell me that, yes, parties are unpopular, but if they feel popular candidates at the grassroots level, there is a tendency that they will win at least a councillorship seat. But what you have seen now, the bandwagon effect of the Supreme Court decision is that every state is now rushing to conduct local government elections. Did you know that in Anambra there has not been any local government election in the last 10 years? In the last 10 years. In Borno, similarly, for many years, I'm not sure in the last 25 years in Borno State whether they have had up to 2 or 3 local government elections. It's been run largely by sole administrators and caretaker committees. Now the Supreme Court has said that any state that doesn't have local government or democratically elected local government in place, that their funds will not be released to them. Now, many of these governors are now rushing to conduct symbolic elections where they will just sweep all the seats. You will see low voter turnout. You will see that on the election day, election did not start until about 10, 11 a.m. And only very few people are even aware that such an election is going to happen. I was surprised with Imo local government election and Kwara local government election that held same day as that of Edo governorship election last on September 21. The same old story. Every available seat was won by the party governing the state. And this is not good for our democracy. If you will not allow the will of the people to triumph, you cannot tell me that a party that is a national party cannot field candidates that will win at least a seat at the local government. But let me tell you, Steve, what is at play is that many of these state governors, they orchestrate a winner takes all. They win all the seats because they know the arcade plan they have. When these so-called newly elected local government chairpersons and councillors are inaugurated, they continue with the old trajectory of collecting the money from the federal government and sharing it. No, this is taking this discussion to another level. You know that there are only 768 local governments and 6 area councils recognized by the Constitution. But many states have gone ahead to create what they call LCDAs, that's Local Council Development Administration. And this LCDA, let me give you the example of Lagos. Lagos has 20 local government, but has 37 LCDAs. Now, when the money for the 20 local government, which is constitutionally recognized, when it comes to the state post, there's what is called joint state local government account. When the money enters the JAC, it is redistributed by the governor to now sponsor to take care of 57 57 councils rather than 20 that is constitutionally recognized. So when they have, should they allow any opposition to win the seat? Those opposition members may make trouble for them. And that's why they always ensure that they have a clean sweep, that the party at the center will win all the seats so that they can continue the shenanigans of redistributing this income, or that situations where the state government will be the one to spend their resources on their behalf. And that's why there's a tragedy of local government in Nigeria. So much so that I went to a primary school in Ibadan, which was established by a local government. But I don't know what the state of that school is now, given the paucity of funds, given the fact that the state government has attacked the local governance system. And what the Supreme Court decision was is to restore that lost glory of local government. Unfortunately, when the state government is the one taking that has resolved the functions of local government, that is receiving and distributing the funds of local government, they cannot perform their constitutionally designed functions.
Right.
And that has made many people not to want to work at a local government because they do not have funds to even to run the local government administration. So it has run the local governance system of the best brains, teachers, medical personnel, and other local government employees, because there's no fund to run those councils.
So as we wrap this conversation, the National Assembly is actually mulling a look at essentially removing the constitutional provision that allowed the Supreme Court to make that ruling, granting financial autonomy to the local governments. Can you speak to us about that very quickly? What do you think would happen if that clause is removed, and how possible do you think it is for that clause to be removed at this time?
There's nothing that is not possible. It's the willpower. Section 162 is the problematic section of the Constitution. It is Section 162, sub 3 or sub 6, that says that there must be joint state-local government account, in which case the money comes from federal allocation and goes into that JAC account and is distributed by the governor. So if you amend that section of the law, it then means that local government can receive their funds directly from the federal government without any fear of molestation. But you see, the bigger conversation is how will you deal with the LCDs that have been established by the state houses of assembly and that has no funding? Because it's like establishing schools without money to run the schools. So the problem would be is either they scrap these LCDs to allow for the constitutionally recognized local government to function properly. And I've advocated in one of my articles in the Punch where I said, is either we allow for local government autonomy or apparently scrap local governance system. In which case you will not leave every state to decide on whether it wants to establish local government or not. I recall that in Imo State during the governorship term of Rochas Okorocha, he even went ahead and created a fourth layer of governance in Imo. I don't know how much success he recorded with the establishment of that fourth local government system. Right. But by and large, what the Constitution would do is limited. Even if you alter the Constitution, it is the practice, the implementation that is the challenge. Because unless the governors are ready to release the stranglehold on local governance, let me give you a very quick instance. Do you know that the secretary to the local government, the auditor to the local government, and key personnel of local government are part of the state government that are on secondment to work in those local government? So the loyalty of those key staff is to the state governor who appointed them to go and oversee the administration in those local government. Until when you have clean autonomy, in which case each local government determines the number of staff it wants to have, hires its own staff, disciplines them, promotes them, and pays their retirement benefits. But situations where the state will appoint its own staff and give to local government on secondment, the auditor, the secretary, the key personnel of the local government. Even when you have a scenario where there is funding coming directly to local government, who is going to manage that fund? It's going to be these key personnel that are on secondment from the state government. And until when you deal with that issue and just give a clean break to the local government system to independently run their own affairs, without being tied to the umbilical cord of the state government, that is when you have the best of local governance system in Nigeria.
Right. Well, Mr. Ojo, thank you very much for your time and your expertise on this conversation. Jide Ojo is a political affairs analyst. He joined us to speak on local governments, from the local government elections recorded across the country in the last few months to the more recent conversations at the National Assembly regarding the clause that guarantees financial autonomy for local governments. You're still on to Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos. In a few short moments, we'll be turning to News Extra.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.